I've looked at the Mormons actually have a greater longevity in the US than the Adventists do. If you look at, and so do the Ashkenazi Jews. It's there, the data is there, but you don't hear about the Mormons and the Jews outliving everyone else. All you hear about as Adventists at Loma Linda, as part of Blue Zones, which is again just made up.
That's another.
Beware the blue zones, can I just say? Beware the blue zones. I uncovered last year, there was the 89th US Congress of Mayors. And at that Congress, 1,400 mayors have just signed and passed as official policy the adoption of the blue zones. And that's really scary in America. And someone said to me recently, why do you know so much about America? But I can't help myself. It's easier to find it there than it is here. So the concept of the blue zones project, the branding of the blue zones was bought by Adventist Health in 2020. And now you've just had 1,400 mayors sign up to say,
Great.
Yes, we're going to do this.
Great.
And when you look at their graphic about what you eat, it's called a plant slant diet, 95 to 100% plants. That's what they believe the blue zones ate. But the demographers didn't say that. It was Dan Buttner in 2005 who found Loma Linda as a blue zone, a journalist. And he and the couple of demographers branded this because you couldn't create a pill for longevity. Fountain of Youth, they've been looking at forever, could not find a pill to create that. So they worked on creating a concept that they believe crossed all of the boundaries, they picked the best of each of these different areas, but they took the diet from Loma Linda. And that was the thing that they said, yes, this is what we need to pull in, which does not agree with Sardinia and Okinawa,
where they had
Icaria.
Those other, the original blue zone areas.
All ate lard.
All ate animal proteins and fats. But in fact, the original one wasn't a study of diet. It was a study of culture.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, that's right.
Had nothing to do with diet. And then it became this concept of, hang on, this is maybe a sellable product. And then they literally came along, and then Loma Linda was included because you needed to sell books in the US.
In the US, that's right. They needed to have an American one, Dan Buttner.
You're not going to make lots of book sales from talking about Sardinia and Okinawa. So therefore they needed to entrench a US community.
Did not know that.
And then so Loma Linda came into that. And then they said, okay, because Loma Linda's now in it, okay, what's that? That's it. Well, that's theoretically the Garden of Eden diet, which, as we've just talked about, completely unsustainable, eating fruits, nuts and seeds. It's not even vegan, vegetarian. It's just so literally off the planet. And as it turns out, the definition of vegan, according to the Adventist Health Study, is that you don't eat meat more than once a month. And vegetarian not more than once a week. So, well, hang on, this isn't vegan, this isn't vegetarian, this isn't that traditional Eastern vegetarian, this is Western marketing, what I call marketing-based science. You've heard of evidence-based science? Then you've got called eminence-based science, which is what a lot of what we're up against, which people, professors said this, so therefore that's the way it stays. I've got this other term called marketing-based science, and this is just all marketing-based science, and it's literally just made up. But if you control the message and you control the advertising, and you have a message of fear, so meat causes cancer, meat causes masturbation, meat causes violence, meat causes cancer, meat causes heart disease, which we moved to now, meat causes planetary decline.
That's right.
Climate change. It's literally just made up. But if you keep having this message of fear, and it's going to be this, terrible abomination for all of society now, because they didn't win on meat causes violence, masturbation, cancer, or even heart disease. So now meat causes climate change is the latest tact.
Yep.
And when you just track it all back, it's people believe this stuff because you keep hearing it.
And the concern is that vegan definition might well work for people who are Seventh-day Adventists, like to have meat once a month.
Right.
It may be enough to sustain their health.
That's right.
The general public doesn't hear that.
They don't know.
They hear vegan and they go, that's no animal proteins and no animal fats. And so I think this is also something we need to really highlight and question, is that that's not the public's perception of a definition.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That is such a good point. For somebody that's unfamiliar with the blue zones, and again, I'm glad you brought up the kind of original idea of the study. We notice a few places that have more octogenarians. So is that right? Did I say that right?
Yes. Yes.
People that live to be, centenarians. We see more
centenarians, but a lot of them actually didn't have high centenarians. But
so it's 80 or more.
Yes,
okay, good.
Longevity.
I'm still right. Okay, awesome. So we notice these places, people seem to live longer. Great, let's go check them out, see what they're doing. So diet might be part of it. It might be that they are really active and healthy. Maybe their community is a big part of it. There's so many confounding variables, just like everything else in epidemiology. You can only look at an area, make some associations, but you can't prove causation. And this gets brought up all the time. I get questions about the blue zones all the time. And the number of inconsistencies when you start to go over to, the journalists who report about it, Loma Linda is far less populated than some of these other areas. I want to say it's like 23,000 people are even there. There's questions about other places on the planet where people live far longer, like indigenous tribes. People brought up Iceland. Why wasn't Iceland included? They eat tons of animal products and they live very long, healthy lives. It's absolutely ridiculous to say that it's like vegetables and fruits that is what is keeping these people alive. It's not even true.
The other areas are geographically isolated. They're removed from Western food. Loma Linda's removed from Western food because they make all their food. Gary and I went into the supermarket. It is canned, packaged. There is a small area of fresh food, but absolute buckets.
Well, no, it would have been most of it imported fresh food.
Imported fresh. And then they had these buckets and massive containers of all of the alternative meats, milks, and cereals. Was just mind-blowing how much they had there. And I think the idea with the other blue zone areas is they looked at birth certificates and they looked at people that were entrenched in those areas. In Loma Linda, especially, it wasn't even discovered until 1910 by Ellen G. White, and then they built the university and the hospital and things there. So people weren't necessarily born there as Seventh-day Adventists. And the Life Assurance Ministries, which are a group of ex-Adventists, say that really it's a retirement village. So the people who are affluent, which the other blue zone areas are not affluent, so people are affluent, health conscious, and doing really, really well, tend to migrate there. But they also have the benefit of a massive hospital. And so other Seventh-day Adventists who may be there are people who work at the university and the hospital. There's about 9,000 of that 23 that are Seventh-day Adventists. Wow. And some people there are doing very, very well with their health. But there's other confounding factors, the spiritualism, and a great thing that I read the other day was they don't want to cheat. In our normal society, if you decide you don't want to eat dessert anymore, you want to reduce your sugar, you're so pressured by people around you because of their guilt. Oh, go on, just have a little bit of this, just have a little bit of that. At Loma Linda, nobody would say that because everybody wants to hold on to their belief that they are eating the right way because of a religious teaching. So that would also make a huge difference to those people at Loma Linda.
Yeah. Wow.
But
But
not
all Seventh-day Adventists are healthy.
But it's not an original blue zone. It's just, and if you look at the diet of the original blue zones, they were largely based on animal-based foods, and protein and healthy fats, and they ate
plants.
And they ate plants. It wasn't highly processed food, and I just can't believe the results that the Adventist groups are coming out with, because the studies are being done to prove something.
Yeah.
Their definitions are fluid. There's just a big paper that's come out recently from the American Society of Lifestyle Medicine about American College, for the guidelines for diabetes management, and talk about a fluid document. Whoa, they looked for consensus statements, not literature. They only found 60 out of 131 that sort of fitted their narrative, and that was only after they changed 11 of them.
Wow.
And then they couldn't prove that they could put diabetes into remission for 6 months. So then they changed the definition of remission of diabetes to 3 months. They talk about it in the paper. I said to Belinda, this is a smoke and mirrors paper, but without any mirrors because they're not reflecting on it. And it's so non-transparent, it's just all smoke. It's just, but the trouble is that document then gets adopted by the American Endocrinological Society as being that plant-based is a method of putting diabetes into remission. I can't find the papers that actually say that. And diabetes, the best papers that have been coming out plant-based saying that you can reduce the HbA1c, the control of diabetes, by 0.3%. That 0.3% is nothing.
Nothing.
And it's
Compared to the people you've been interviewing.
it's not remission.
It's ridiculous.
And this is, but nonetheless, they keep saying it. They keep publishing. Oh, they published it in their own journal, by the way. Yeah, so it's not. And peer review was one of their members actually reviewing what the president of the organisation had written. So
convenient.
So the American College of Lifestyle Medicine began as the American Christian Lifestyle Medicine, and it was the Christian Association of Lifestyle Medicine. It was called CALM at the beginning at Loma Linda University in 2003. It became the American College of Lifestyle Medicine in 2004 with exactly the same people, the same 9 key people that are devout Seventh-day Adventists at that thing. But the American College of Lifestyle Medicine has grown and grown. It's now running exams around the world. And what I say to the Australasian Society of Lifestyle Medicine here is that no matter, even if you don't have people on your board who are Seventh-day Adventists, when regular people, say Gary was to sign up for the Australasian Society of Lifestyle Medicine, which has a seemingly endless benevolent agenda. And it does sound really, really good. But you don't realize until you get in there that their plant-based discussions are actually heading towards veganism. They are demonizing animal proteins and fats. And they've got people in the cereal industry and everyone else. But when these people sign up to be part of that society, they do the exams with the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And these exams were written by the founder and key people in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and also, unfortunately, key people in Coca-Cola. So the idea is for health professionals, and I'm talking all health professionals, including exercise physiologists, dietitians, medical doctors and nurses, dietitians, everybody. The idea is for them to write prescriptions for lifestyle medicine and exercise as medicine. And this idea is that people will eat less, move more, eat less meat. And if you don't understand that that messaging is coming from religious ideology and vested interests, it's really hard to challenge that. And you get caught up in that whole society, and these societies everywhere, all around the world. But the American College of Lifestyle Medicine is the hub. It is the basis of this whole lifestyle medicine branding. And that's where it's come from.